Hello everyone, hope you're all safe and well. We're in the kitchen this afternoon. My wife's gone out to work so we can sneak into the kitchen, be nice and warm. Got a bit of Harry Nilsson playing in the background. We're going to do a bit of a side-by-side comparison of the Milwaukee and the DeWalt 3/8 cordless ratchets. Here we have this is pretty much my longest standard ratchet, locking flex head, Mac tools. Part number is, we can zoom in there, it's XR, what's that? Well, I'm not really sure, what's that? XR139LRFK, then there's a 4V. It's the locking flex, so you press the button, and it's a little bit difficult to do, so you press the button to detent it, and you can lock the head in whichever position you want. I did want it with the fully knurled handle, but they don't do one. It's only Proto that do the knurled handle. I have got the soft grip version of this. This is the full chrome version. To be quite honest, I haven't really used it much, and I am probably going to swap it for a longer ratchet. Okay, let's get back to the cordless tools. As I say, doing a bit of a side-by-side comparison. There's the DeWalt, there's the Milwaukee. I'm going to start off with the DeWalt first. As you can see, it is substantially longer than the Milwaukee. But then again, I'm not really sure whether this is the longest long reach cordless ratchet that Milwaukee manufacture. Back to the DeWalt. It's got the 12 amp battery. As you can see, it's a nice profile. It's got the button instead of the paddle that we can see that the Milwaukee tool uses. Obviously, that's all about price. It would have been better if the Milwaukee had the button, but obviously it all boils down to price, manufacturing costs, and these tools are pretty expensive anyway. So with that added benefit, I suppose it'd be really expensive. The DeWalt, it's got the usual type of body. We've got the harder yellow plastic, the classic DeWalt yellow. We've got the rubber inlay for your grip. Then obviously we've got all the highlights that with the DeWalt logos, the brushless motor, and the part numbers. Obviously it's made in China. Where's the? See, there it is. There's the actual part number. It's DCF 503E. So yeah, as we can see there, DeWalt, blah 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 blah. It's going to be made in China. It does say it's made in China somewhere. No, it says there's a Germany, and what else is there? UK DeWalt slow, but it probably is made in China. Pretty substantial neck on it. Anvil, pretty robust. I don't know why. I'm not really a fan why they've added this chrome plating to the actual ratcheting mechanism. I think the whole tool would have looked much nicer if it was all black. That kind of cheapens the look, to be honest, in my opinion. We got the switches there. It's difficult to say to do it with one hand, so obviously that's tight and loose. Pretty substantial anvil on it. Pretty well made tool. We've got this hex on the body here. I'm not really sure whether you can undo that and rotate the neck so that it's in different positions. Maybe one of you guys out there has rotated it into a different position to aid more ergonomic working. As I say, it's a nice well made tool. I already had the charger, so I only needed to buy the battery. As I mentioned earlier, my standard charger charges this battery as well as my normal DeWalt batteries. Okay, getting on to the Milwaukee. At first glance, the Milwaukee looks a much better quality tool. As I say, my only gripe is the paddle handle. Yeah, I know that I'm not using the genuine Milwaukee batteries, but that's because I'm a bit of a tight arse. Bought these batteries off eBay, and obviously they're not going to fit 100%, so that's why I've had to resort to the gaffer tape. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not really sure whether this is the longest long neck cordless Milwaukee tool. As you can see, when you compare it next to the DeWalt, there is a substantial difference. It is a very, very well made tool. The plastic feels a much higher quality to the DeWalt. Everything about this tool just reeks of quality. It's very robust, as you can see there. I mean, just look at the material around the actual ratchet mechanism there. Substantial ratchet head. It's very, very thick. There's the, get it side by side. I know they do look similar, but when you look at them on the picture, on the video, but when you actually see them, the Milwaukee does look a better made tool. As I say, I don't know why DeWalt added that chrome plated section. It just cheapens the tool, in my opinion. Going back to the Milwaukee, this is a very, very high quality tool, very well made. Again, we got the hard plastic, and then we got the rubber, the gripping. Very ergonomic. My only, as I mentioned earlier, my only gripe is this paddle handle. I can see it does look flimsy. It's only held in by a little pin there, a little split pin. I have dropped this on numerous occasions, and I suppose it's only a matter of time before this breaks off. In my opinion, it would have been far, far better if Milwaukee had used this type of design, but as I mentioned earlier, when you've got to incorporate these types of designs, it's just going to add more to cost, and these are pretty expensive tools for what they are. Remember, cordless ratchets, they're only really nut runners. I don't think we're ever going to get to the scenario where a cordless ratchet is going to have the same sort of power as an air ratchet. These are only, both of them are only rated around the kind of £35 foot. I don't really know what it is in metric, in Newton meters, and I think we all know that an air ratchet, it's a lot stronger than that. I've got a really old snap-on air ratchet. It's got to be at least 20 years old. You've got to be extremely careful with that, because if you get into a scenario where you're holding onto the trigger, you will over tighten the nut, the whole tool will rotate, and you could get yourself into a lot of trouble. You could probably break your wrist, it's that strong. As I say, these two tools added to the arsenal to help me work safer, more efficiently. We all know how difficult it is when you're working on your own, and any tools that make working on your own easier, safer, quicker, more efficient are always going to be a benefit. Apparently there is a half-inch version of the DeWalt tool, but to be quite honest, looking at the specs, it's not really any more powerful. Don't really know whether this should be any more powerful with bigger batteries. To be honest, with a bigger battery, it's just going to be sticking out of the side, and for getting into tight access areas, which this tool is really designed for, it's really going to spoil that. Eventually, I will buy genuine Milwaukee batteries so that this tool has got a better profile. But as I say, with the way things are at the moment in the supply chain, it's difficult. It was difficult enough for me to get the DeWalt. It's taken nearly 12 months for them to come into the country, and as soon as they came in, my Mac Tools dealer notified me, and I was on the van straight away and I purchased one. Would I buy another one? Probably would do, but as I'd either buy another Milwaukee or another DeWalt. Good tools. Yes, we do know that Snap-on makes cordless ratchets that probably are extremely good, but as we all know, they're going to be extremely expensive as well. And I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm just a hobbyist with a couple of classic cars that he likes to play on. So there's not really much point in me spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds on cordless tools when I'm not a professional. With the professionals, they buy the tools to make them money. I just buy the tools to make life a little bit easier for myself when I'm working. Okay, that's all for now. So stay safe and well.